Everyone asks me what my favorite scene is in the movie, and that is so hard to say because they're all unique and special in their own ways. One scene in particular helped me to realize God was really doing this, He was in it, and this was it. This was His time and season. It was the first weekend we were shooting, and we had a scene where the sister of one of the victims was praying and forgiving Karla and asking God to find her.
Yeah, Karla did it. My sister's crazy.
We had set up the lights for this scene, and the actress that was supposed to play the part hadn't shown up yet. And so my director of photography, Matt DeJesus, said, we need to move on if we're going to get all the scenes done. So I knew I needed this scene. And so I looked around for who was available at that moment from the cast or crew. And the only one that was there was Jill Reynolds. So we put her in the bedroom and she started to do the scene. This woman was not an actress. She has a heart to serve God, and all of a sudden the power of God hit her and she started crying and asking God to forgive those that killed her brother. Jill did an incredible job, but I remember standing back and feeling the anointing of the Lord and the heaviness of that scene and going, oh my gosh, God is really here. He's really doing this. This is it. This is the time for His moving. So that scene is really important for me personally, because I knew that God was with us, and if He was with us, who could be against us? And we were going to finish the shoot, and we were going to finish this film in a great way. The other scene that was so important to telling the story of Karla Faye Tucker was showing the intimacy between her and Dana Brown. And how would we go about doing that? And I remember shooting for 4 weekends thinking, all right, we're coming up to the end of the movie and I still don't have that level of intimacy I'm looking for. We showed the mush through the mesh where they put their hands to the screen. That was one thing that was really important and special to Karla and Dana. And I remember talking to Dana Brown about the love that he and Karla shared, and he would be weeping talking about this woman. The other thing that struck me was that they were a reflection of Christ and his church. And we can't touch Jesus right now, but we have a level of intimacy with Him that's in a spiritual realm. And so I was thinking about that Karla and Dana were the perfect reflection of Christ and His church. And so, still trying to figure out how I was going to do that was overwhelming. And then there was a moment that we were shooting on the set, and Matt DeJesus, my cinematographer, looked at the shot, and he said, do you see what I see? And I said, what? And I looked, and there was a reflection of Karen Yazek, who plays Karla Faye Tucker, sitting on her husband's lap. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they started moving their heads, and Matt relit the scene where it even, was more prominent. And there we saw a spiritual oneness that Karla and Dana shared. And that was just a serendipity moment. It was not storyboarded. We just showed up. And it was another way of God winking at us, because He knew, no one else knew that I was worried about this, but God knew that I wanted to show intimacy between Karla and Dana. And it was just perfect. So those 2 scenes, I would say, are the most important to me in the film.
Unless a seed falls into the ground and dies, it abides by itself alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. By her life or by her death. I put it to you and I leave it with you.
You are worthy. You are worthy.
That scene was pivotal for me in one very important way, and that was because I realized how good a director Helen was, because she, in fact, it was great. Well, let me
She could just pull anything out of you.
Yeah, because she came over and started talking to me, and she just kind of went with the scene, and she saw where I was going, and she picked up on that, and she just drew so much out of me,
Yes.
more than I could have imagined.
Yes.
In that scene where my face starts to contort, that was really because Helen was there drawing certain things out. And I was encouraged by that, because I was able to go back to Karen and say, hon, you know what? When the time comes, God will show up big. You can trust Him, and He's got the right person in the place to do what she does. Helen will draw it out of you.
Yes.
Trust me. And I saw that time and time again, but that was really good for me at that moment to know that the person who was supposed to be there was there, and Helen was there directing us and was able to draw things out.
Yes.
And that's a big takeaway for me from the movie. It's such a joy to have a director that you can go, wow, I really trust this person to pull stuff out of me. And then it was kind of hard to come out of it,
Yeah.
but it sure felt good. It is a very gratifying thing.